on you. You cannot offer salah what? Everybody understand this? You cannot what? Offer salah. If a dog runs up to you and he licks your hand, dog, you go over your grandmother's house or Fulan's house, someone has a dog, the dog licks your hand, you are not allowed to offer the salah until you do what? Wash your hand. The dog licks your prayer rug, you're not allowed to make sujood on the rug until the rug is? Everybody understand this? These are all rulings that come once the word what? Najis is used. That you yourself are not allowed to give a dog a kiss. The dog is not allowed to kiss you on your face because it is najis based off of this hadith. And once something is najis, you must now what? You must what? Avoid. This is a very important concept in Islam. And I'm not going to mention some things because there are many youth among us. Maybe some of us may lack maturity. But there are different issues that pertain to this concept of something being najis and you can't directly touch it anymore. Is it permissible to do this and do that? Some ulama say no, because you're coming in direct contact with najasa. Everybody understand this? Najasa must be what? Avoid. What rujaza? Fahjur. Everybody understand this? Avoid filth. So once the dog's saliva is considered to be najis, you are not allowed to do what? Touch it. You're not allowed to what? Touch it, unless it's necessity. That's the first ruling of anything najis. Urine, stool, the blood of menses, meta, the animal that died improperly, you're not to what? Directly touch it. That's the first ruling, and it's very important. Number two, if you do come in direct contact with that thing, you must do what? Clean yourself. Number three, you're not allowed to pray when you have what? Najasa on you. The thing is najis. The general najasa is on you. You can't pray with it. Everybody understand this? Can you sell it? Is it permissible to sell najasa? No, it's haram. It's thaman. The income from it is haram. Everybody understand this? You can't trade with it. You can't buy it. It's totally, practically useless. Everybody, it's practically, I said practically, because there's some situations, but it's practically what? Useless. Everybody understand this? So the first benefit we take from this hadith is that the saliva of the dog is what? Najis. Now, did we mention what the ulama and the fuqaha say? We said it was based off of this hadith. The majority of the people of the past, they say that the saliva of the dog is najis. That's something if you want to write down. Most of the fuqaha held the view that the saliva of the dog is what? Najis. Imam Malik rahimahullah, his view was that the saliva of the dog is pure and it isn't najis. Imam Malik rahimahullah. And someone says, well, what about this hadith? Hadith clearly says pour it out, wash it. Imam Malik, he said that what's meant by this hadith is something totally spiritual. It's ta'abbudi, that it isn't najis, but the Prophet says for one reason or another, get rid of the water. And most of the other fuqaha said no. La, it's physically what? Najis. Tangibly what? Najis. Everybody understand this? The next point is, and it's very important, what is the ruling on the rest of the dog? The dog's hair, or if the dog has fur. If the dog touches you, is it najis as well, or just the saliva? Just the saliva. Next point, if you want to write down, most of these traditional schools of thought hold the view that the entire dog is najis. The entire dog is najis. Not all of the ulama, but most of them, or a large number from among them, say that the entire dog is what? Najis. And there's some of the people of knowledge who say it's only what? Saliva. And the body of the dog, you cannot compare it to the saliva. It's different. Everybody clear on this? And this pertains to other concepts of animals, like we talked about the other night. Pigskin, having a boar hair brush, tanning the skin of the animal. The flesh is haram. The blood is haram. The blood is najis. Most of the ulama say the flesh is najis. But does that mean I can't wear its hide? I can't tan it? Everybody, for one thing, learn how many things? 10,000. Make more sense now? For one thing you can learn what? 10,000 things. The next benefit we take from this hadith is what? Mud is a type of purification, ascent, in certain instances. And it's something that has to come before that. Which is what? Is that there are different ways of purifying things. There's not one way of what? Tathir. Everybody understand this? Everybody got this? The next, or another benefit, or another point of looking at how the saliva of the dog is najis, is the hadith, the version says, فَلْيُرِقْهُ, says pour it out. And whether we had that narration or not, you can't wash a vessel 7 times until you pour it out. So they say, as we said, water is scarce, water is sacred in Islam. If you have to pour it out, that means it's a waste of what?
Water.
That clearly proves that the saliva of the dog is najis, because it's haram to waste money. As Mughira ibn Shu'bah radiyallahu anhu narrated, and the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he forbade wasting money. So therefore, if I have to pour it out, then wash it 7 times, it proves automatically that the saliva is what? Najis. Everybody clear on this? Tight. Moving on. The next point. It says, طهور إناء أحدكم إذا ولغ فيه الكلب أن يغسله 7 مرات. Is the obligation of not only pouring out the water and washing it, but the vessel must be washed what? 7 times. The hadith tells us that it should be washed what? 7 times. And that's not what all of the different madhahib say. Some of them say you don't have to wash it 7, just once. Before we move that further, a very common misconception among people is cleaning najasa from one's body or clothes. Many people think that if a dog licks your hand, you have to wash your hand 7 times. Or you have to put your hand in the dirt and then wash it. That's wrong and that's baseless. If your child has an accident and some urine gets on you, or if a woman has an accident with regards to her monthly cycle and that blood gets on her, the only thing that is mandatory is to wash the najasa until it's gone. And there is no set amount of times of washing najasa. And the reason behind this popular belief is a baseless hadith that states, Umirna bi ghasl al-anjasi 7. Hadith states we have been commanded to wash najasa 7 times. Hadith is baseless. It's baseless. The Prophet, he never said that. We have been commanded to wash najasa 7 times. You'll find this in many classical madhab. That is incorrect. The only thing in which you must wash 7 times is this, not the dog saliva. There you go, the vessel. Sense. We never said the dog saliva. We made an example of the dog licking your hand. You wash it once, that's sufficient. The vessel is what? In other words, we see that the Imam Malik rahimahullah, even if the saliva is najis, there's still some basis to his speech. Is that there's something spiritual about this issue. Because why not just wash it once? But there's something deeper than that. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? Everybody understand this? Tight. Now, when you use the bathroom, we know that the Prophet ﷺ has ordered us to use 3 stones. As Salman radiyallahu anhu narrated in Sahih Muslim. وَأَنْ لَا نَسْتَنْجِيَ بِأَقَلِّ مِنْ 3 أَحْجَارٍ. When the Jewish man said to him, he says, لَقَدْ عَلَّمَكُمْ نَبِيُّكُمْ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَتَّى الْخِرَاءَةِ. He says, your Prophet has taught you everything, even the manners of using the restroom. And he says, yes. He forbade us to use our right hand. He forbade us from this. And he also forbade us from washing with less than what? 3 stones. So this is another issue in which the number system is used. When you use the bathroom and use toilet paper, sanitary tissues, it shouldn't be less than what? 3 times. Everybody understand this? And that's going to come later on in the book as well. Everybody clear on this? If it isn't the dog saliva in the vessel, or person using the bathroom, then cleansing najasa has no set what? Everybody understand this? It has no set number system. And this is very important because it's practical daily worship. There's no set number system to washing najasa. Everybody clear on this? Until it's clean. Once, twice, scrub, brush, pour, rinse, etc. Khayr inshallah fahimna? We got this, guys? Everybody understand this? Follow.
We can say that in these hadith, it's only the vessel, and if it's something on your clothes, or etc.
Yes, the hadith is talking about a vessel. Hadith is Sahih Muslim. Everybody understand this? About the vessel.
Utensil.
Clothes, utensils have not been mentioned in this hadith. The hadith that says washing najasa 7 times, we said is what? Baseless. We didn't even say daif. We said what? Baseless. La asla lah. Everybody clear on this? Let's move on. So now, we understand the hadith, and we understand what we benefit from the hadith. This is a different way of studying Abu Sa'id. We study a fiqh book, it's one thing. Comparative, a madhab, and this way we study directly from the what? From the hadith. Fiqh sunnah. Fiqh, what we take directly from the what? hadith does not necessarily mean that this will all of the what? Ulama say. Do I have to know what all of what they said and this? That's branches of study. If you died and this is what you practiced and this is what you believed, alhamdulillah. The expert, student of knowledge, alim, he has to learn what? More. And to become an expert, you have to know what's correct, what's incorrect. Everybody understand this? What is agreed upon? What is differed over? Everybody clear on this? So therefore, we have several issues. The first issue is what? The ruling of the saliva of the dog. We explained that already. Right? We explained that, right? The next issue is what? Ascent. The amount of times. Some ulama say 7 based off of the sunnah. Another ulama say what? 3. Or so on and so forth. We'll get there. Why didn't they say 7 times? Did they hear about the hadith? Maybe they didn't know. Their excuse for not implementing the sunnah is not our excuse. And this is the whole concept of Hanafi, Shafi'i, Hanbali, so on and so forth. Why didn't Abu Hanifa take this view? Allahu Alam. Perhaps Abu Hanifa didn't hear about the hadith. Perhaps Abu Hanifa considered hadith to be da'if. Perhaps. His rules and his principles. But what comes clear to you, what you understand and what you learn, that's your responsibility of doing what? Of what? And it's haram for you to say, I'm Hanafi. And it's clear to you that there's something that's contrast to the view of the Hanafi madhab. This is the whole concept of madhabs. You cannot say I'm Hanbali when the dalil is crystal cut and clear. You yourself acknowledge hadith is sahih, the usul al-fiqh, the lugha al-arabiyyah, the language, clear. It isn't abrogated. So on and so forth. It's clear that this is what you must do. It is now unlawful for you to be Hanbali. So you're not just bashing Hanafis. It's haram for you to say what? I'm Shafi. That's not my madhab. La yajuz. Something that you don't know about, that's a different story. I'm Hanafi, and in my country, we wash it 3 times. I never studied the issue. That's how I was taught by those ulama that I respect. There's nothing wrong with that, Hakim. There's what? There's nothing wrong with what? With that. I'm a simple layman Muslim. I don't know Arabic. I don't study hadith. I didn't go overseas. I take the fatwa of those trusted what? Ulama. There's nothing wrong with that. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask people of knowledge if you don't know. But now you went to Medina, or you study in Darul Uloom, or Sudan, wherever you went and studied, and you learned some Arabic, and you learned that there's something called Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim. You learned something called Fiqh al-Sunnah. You read what the Sahaba said, and it becomes clear to you that some of those previous opinions are not so what? Strong. Now, is it permissible for you to say, I'm Hanbali, I'm Hanafi, I'm Shafi'i? La yajuz. Now, you must be Muhammadi. You have to follow the Sunnah. As far as if it's khilaf, some say Sahih, some says Da'if, that's a different story. Why didn't a Shafi'i take that view? Perhaps that's a different. You have to worship Allah with that what you feel is yaqeen, that what you understand. Everybody understand this? So there's a balance. Are madhabs haram? Are they permissible? There's what? Detail. It all depends. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? We don't get the general layman Muslim involved into these fierce issues here. They can understand these things. But those who can, those who have heard about the sunnah, they have learned more, it's now mandatory for them to follow that. Everybody clear on this? And there are different understandings to one hadith, as we just gave you. And this also teaches us in the field of da'wah, the whole hype, rah-rah, screaming, hollering at people, debating other people is falsehood. They're not upon the sunnah in this masjid. What does it mean to be upon the sunnah? One hadith is understood in different ways. Maybe he has a different understanding. Everything is not clear, cut, and dry in Islam. And even in the hadiths themselves, as we've just what? Shown you. Fulan says this, Fulan says that. He says it means this, he says it was da'if. So there are issues that are agreed upon. There are issues in which there's khilaf over, and one of you is weak and the others are strong. And there are issues in which they're what? 50-50, 60-40. It could go what? Everybody understand this? Your opinion, I feel 7 times is mandatory. But I cannot call you a deviant or innovator if you say what? Because he's basing it off of what? Something. Whether it's strong or? Everybody got this? He's basing it off of something. There are other narrations. There are other principles. qawa'id in the deen that makes him take a different view. But once those views, you see something to be strong and that the qaida isn't that strong and the sunnah comes before this principle, your job is to do what? Follow that which is clear from the sunnah. Everybody understand this? This is very important for us to understand. And the whole concept of da'wah, Muslims, deviant masjids, Salafi masjid, this and that. You have to understand this is crucial. And this is why most people who holler and scream at people, they wage war on these type of classes. Because when this knowledge is presented and these details are laid down, people will become exposed. They become what? They become exposed. They say, don't put the camera too close to my face. Because when you do that, what are you going to see on my face? Wrinkles, bumps, marks on my face. Don't have a close-up. Everybody understand this? Why doesn't he want a close-up? Because he feels insecure about his face. That light, that detailed, high-definition light beaming on you, it shows what? Hey, wow. But from a distance, or it's not HD, the person can hide, put on makeup, and so on and so forth. Everybody got this? And the same concept is in Islam. When this type of ilm is thrown, say, this guy doesn't know anything. All these years he was Ali, he's jahil. He can barely speak Arabic. He doesn't know nothing about hadith or fiqh or usul or qawaid. And people, they don't want that. So if you want to control the people, keep them ignorant. You want to control the people, keep things absolute. There's only one view when it comes to washing the vessel. You have to do it 7. Keep the people like that. Then you can control them. But when people start knowing more and realizing more, it becomes dangerous. And those who truly have knowledge and those who truly lack knowledge, it becomes what? Clear. Just like the camera on someone's what? Face. You thought she was beautiful, Sharif. Huh? You had to sit down with her. You saw her in person. You met her family. He's like, well, I don't want to marry her anymore. But in the picture that the wali showed you, inshallah the wali showed you, hopefully. Not on Facebook, let's be real. I'm not saying Sharif, just being honest. Yeah, an example. The picture that you got on the website, or on Skype, or this or that, or Kether, father says, this is my daughter looks like. Mashallah, Photoshop, exactly. Or even the photographers, the phones, the Samsung phones, they have a, what's the feature called?
Beauty face.
Yeah, beauty face. And you see her in a raw, organic state, like,
Whoa.
Is this not the case? Make sense or not?
It's like with glasses and without glasses.
Tahir. Let's move on. So now we have the concept of what? Of how many times you have to wash it?
7.
No, that's not. We're not talking about the hadith anymore. We've moved on. Now we're talking about what?
Wash into this.
What are we talking about now? What is the next? What are we talking about now? Khuwailid. Ahsant. Madhahib. What do the ulama of Islam say about this issue? Do they unanimously say 7? Or do some say what? We've explained the sunnah already. It's clear. Authentics. Now it's going to move on. And the next issue of khilaf is it obligatory to use dirt to make the mud? Everybody understand this? That comes what? That's later on. After the sunnah is explained and clear. Khair, inshallah. We're going to stop here. We've run out of time. Hopefully, bi'idhnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we'll speak on this next Saturday after Salat al-Maghrib. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Questions and a new recording. Jazakallah khairan.
Is that a question that's actually common on the hadith? About, and the wording that I have here, the translation, it says utensil. The cleaning of the utensil.
It doesn't say that. It says ina. Ina. And ina in the Arabic language is something that holds something. Whether you call it a utensil or not. You want to play the game of synonyms. But a utensil, as you say in Canada, a fork, a knife, a spoon. These are all what? Utensils. That is not necessarily. This is an ina. If you call this a utensil in English, perhaps. But whether you play the word game or not, it's not the same. A bowl is not a... There you go, a cup or a knife. The dog licks the knife, you wash it. You put... This is actual holds what? Water. So
this translation.
I didn't... Allah Alam. I'm not a master of the languages. Perhaps the word utensil in English can also mean a bowl. It is not the most sound translation because it's vague. It's extremely vague. And that's because, and Allah Alam, where I'm from, a utensil means what? A knife. There you go. Cutlery. We won't call a bowl or a bucket or a tub or what? A utensil. So only Allah knows who translated that, whether they're a native speaker or not, someone who learned English. Did they study fiqh? Did they study hadith? You study language and also the skill of translation. Translation is not just you learning Arabic, but there's an actual skill of interpretation, how to word it, how to put it, let alone just the talent and the knack of the language of the people. I don't think nobody would say it in 2016 from New York. You go to the store, you're not going to call utensil,
Cup.
right? I said, Mom, bring me some utensils. What's the first thing you're going to get? Ho-ho. And you're not going to bring like a bowl or a bucket of water. So we don't find that translation as being the most sound.
Yeah, when I shake Google, it shows you the picture of the utensils.
What are they?
A spatula, knife,
Hakida.
no bowls.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Spatula.
Some of that.
I didn't bash nobody. He said it was Boston. He said the name of the website.
You want here? You want to read what the utensil is? It's a
Lord,
handheld.
bro. If anybody any questions, we'll take them.
Designed for food,